ways does your media product use or develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? What did you learn about what the conventions were of real music videos, and what music video conventions you have included and not included, and why? For my research, I found that music videos were almost short stories where the music acted as background. Some music videos contained talking, such as when the song cuts and then dialogue was said to help the audience understand the story. However, I didn't want to tell a strict narrative or story. My video mainly focused on the meaning of friendship. The reason I did this was because the Drums music videos aren't based on a story, but they mostly focus on the band and them messing around. Something I noticed was that Goodwin described how music videos show thought beats. This means that the music video is edited to the beat of the song. There are three parts to the video: the storyteller, the audience and the listener. The video aids the audience to the narrative. I incorporated this idea in my music video by linking the visuals to the lyrics. For example, shot 17 of The Red Flower, the artist sings "All the flower on the earth," by having it directly linked to the lyrics, meaning that the audience can see the clear link. My video clearly illustrates the lyrics. Music videos generally have realistic mise-en-scène. For example, a bedroom looks like a bedroom, which I used in my video as I used my brother's bedroom, and so this showed the realism in my video. Other music videos use CGI and animation, which I didn't use in my music video as I didn't think this was appropriate and didn't fit with the natural theme of my video. The friendship between the characters is natural, like the natural mise-en-scène of the locations. Parks usually connote children and playing and having fun, so I decided to film it here as it highlighted the children's freedom at this part of their lives. Other music conventions include one-shot video. Although I liked this idea, I didn't use this convention as I felt it would be hard to control, as using children actors and they got distracted easily, and a one-shot video would have taken a long time to get right. Also, it wouldn't have given me the chance to show off my editing skills, and so I decided to stick to the popular, more generic music video conventions of having quick cuts and editing to the beats. The mise-en-scène of a music video usually relates to the era that the song was released. The song I used was released in 2010, and so I used mise-en-scène of this time. And so it was modern, which I felt highlighted the era that we live in.
However, children at the minute are seen as obsessed with technology, and I hinted at this when the lead singer held a controller in his bedroom in the beginning. But I felt that I wanted to focus on positives of children, and so I had them outside mostly, which is something I knew I could relate to. And as my target audience is similar age of me, I felt this was appropriate.
Most music videos use lighting boxes and unnatural lighting when filming the performance of their music video. However, I challenged this convention as I had the band outside when I filmed them performing in the field. Normally, music videos in general have women in them, who are there for the attention and eye candy of men. I didn't want to make my music video a typical pop music video, as it was an indie pop song. The male gaze doesn't apply to my music video as the actors were children. The reason behind the choice of actors was because indie music is about having individuality, and I felt that the children were a choice I made to reflect this individuality, as I think it's a different idea to the normal stereotypical music videos we see today. What did you learn about real music genre conventions, and what genre conventions have you included and not included, and why? One convention of indie pop music videos I found was that they had low budgets, as mostly indie bands are unsigned artists, or if they are assigned to small agencies or record companies. So when creating a video, they can't afford to spend a lot. I followed this convention as I had no budget for my music video. I used props from around my house, which I think was a good idea, as it helped the audience to relate to the video, as they could recognise the items that weren't unnatural. Another convention of indie pop music videos is that they use locations which are free to use or use the studio for their record label. However, I didn't have access to a studio, and so I used the public spaces that were free. For example, they perform in a field, which was a free area. Using areas like these brought about problems, like people walking behind the shots, but I couldn't say anything as it was a free space. This helped me as I had no budget either, so using public spaces were ideal. In the band's music video of the song, they perform on a roof. My initial idea was that I was going to have them performing on a garage roof. But after understanding the health and safety risks of this, I decided that although it would follow the genre conventions, it was very dangerous. The park was the next best option. The convention of indie pop music videos is that they are usually performance-based. I followed this convention to a certain extent as I did put performance in the video, but it wasn't mainly focused on this. The reason I did this was because the actors I used couldn't actually play the instruments, and this can be seen in the video as the drummer isn't drumming to the beat and the guitarist isn't playing any chords. In some shots this is very noticeable, but others it isn't so much. I also wanted to add some narrative to the video, as I personally find just performance videos quite boring, and this is also reflected in my audience research, where they like to see narrative as well. A convention of the Drums music video is that they usually have the band running around and messing about in between clips of them performing the song. I followed this convention as I had the children playing together and being children, for example, when they cycled. The mise-en-scène of indie pop is usually naturalistic, as again this is due to the low budget which limits the creative ability. I followed this convention as I had the natural props such as flowers and also used the guitar and a drum. A problem that occurred when filming was that the guitar I used had skulls in it, and so I covered it with black tape. I personally didn't think it was noticeable, but my audience feedback suggested that it might have been something the audience didn't understand. The tape was due to a lack of budget and also due to a lack of available resources. Because I was using children, a lot of people I asked to borrow their guitar weren't happy to lend it to children as they were handling them. Another convention of indie pop music videos is extreme close-ups. I followed this convention as I had extreme close-ups of the lead singer at the beginning of the video, in order to introduce him to the audience. And another shot that was used in a lot of the Drums videos was the singer looking to camera and singing a line. I followed this convention as I had the lead singer look to camera at the beginning of the music video and sing the line forever. Establishing shots were also commonly found in indie music videos, and I did this when showing the performance of the band, and also when the children were on the swings, and then the next shot was a close-up of the guitarist and then the lead singer. Another shot commonly found in indie pop music videos are handheld camera shots. I followed this in the music video in the music videos. The shots I used were a mixture of the camera on the tripod and then also in my hands. The handheld shots make the video feel like the audience is actually there, and again are there due to the low budgets of indie pop artists, due to the lack of equipment such as trolleys. I added some pixelation in my music video, which is something I learned at the animation camp I attended. This isn't a common idea used in music videos. I used a music video where clay and stop motion was used, and I liked the way this looked. The music video I watched was called Another Kind of Love by Jan Svankmajer, and used a lot more technical elements. But I felt the hands pixelation added a sort of difference that the audience might enjoy compared to the usual videos that are seen today.
In the editing of the Drums music videos, they normally add a vintage or retro or textured overlay. I challenged this convention as I didn't add an overlay to the video. At the start of the production process, I thought the overlay was something that I definitely wanted to add, but after some considerations, I felt that my music video actually looked better without the overlay. The Drums videos normally portray a vintage style video using older props from say a few decades ago. My video, however, was set at the time of making it, and so by not adding an overlay I reflected the present. I sort of developed their ideas. The video quality is reflected in the video and its mise-en-scène.
And what digipack conventions have you included / not included, and why? When researching into digipacks and their conventions, I researched into fonts and how they looked in the album artwork. I found that they usually used large images or symbols. I followed this convention as I used Scrabble pieces for the drums, and I did this by using real Scrabble pieces and then edited the photo in Photoshop. Digipacks are promoting the artist, and so they need to be eye-catching in order to gain new listeners. For example, a dull digipack would not be something I'd personally pick up, and so I used bright, solid colours to catch people's attention. A convention I found was that sometimes the artist put the logo on the album front cover. As the drums don't have a logo, I developed this convention by making my own logo out of Scrabble pieces, which I put at the end of the music video and then on the digipack and website. This follows Hesmond Howe, who came up with the theory of cultural industries, which means artists will follow the normal pattern of increasing concentration and integration. Large firms and therefore artists rely on repetition through use of stars, genres, franchises and repeatable narratives. The drums, however, lack this repetition, as all of their old albums didn't follow a set theme, unlike artists like Ed Sheeran, who has named his albums after the mathematical signs. I overcame this problem by creating a brand for the drums using the Scrabble pieces, as they lacked a clear set of conventions. I think making a brand for the band is something very important in becoming a popular artist rather than a small unknown one. The reason I chose the block bold colours was because the drums generally use bright colours in their music videos and in their album artwork. I decided to follow this convention as it is something I recognised as a fan myself, and also I needed something to link all the products together, as the drums lack clear conventions. The back of the digipack usually contained the artist's name, however the drums didn't do this on their album and only had the artist's name on the front of their digipack, and so I decided to follow this convention and not put their name on the back of the digipack. A track list is another important convention of a digipack, letting the fans know which of their favourite tracks are on the album and any added extras. The album artwork on the back of the digipack is similar to the front cover, and so I did this by sticking to the block colour background. I use the lead singer on the front and back as researching popular artist digipack. The main singer is normally on the front and back. This adds to the recognisability of the album. Another important feature of the digipack is the record label's logo or name and the copyright information, as this is the legal side of the digipack and is therefore necessary and means no one can use the songs or music without the artist's permission. By adding copyright and following this convention, it makes my digipack look professional and realistic. A barcode is on every physical digipack, as it is used to store information and the price of the digipack. I followed this convention as, again, I felt it is important to making it look professional. On the inside of a digipack, I found that they usually follow the theme of the front and back cover. Some albums that I analysed had a small section of the front which they enlarged to cover the inside. They did this for a lot of the drums digipacks from previous albums. I challenged the drums conventions of enlarging a section and instead followed the theme of block bold colours. By putting the other band players in the inside in front of a background, it created a brand that coincided with the website as the block colours were used there. On some of the digipacks that I analysed, there were some booklets inside of the lyrics and images of the artists. I decided to challenge this convention and not put a booklet in it, as the fans can easily find the lyrics online. If I were to make the digipack again, I think I would have added some information titled "With Thanks To," as a sort of thank you to people who helped create the music, as I personally feel they deserve recognition, as it isn't just the band that do the work, they have a strong support system behind them. I also created a CD to put inside mine. I followed the conventions of the drum CD by keeping it a plain colour. I added the logo I created, which adds to the brand identity, as it was in the same positioning as the logo on each website page, as well as on the merchandise. What did I learn about website conventions, and what website conventions have I included/not included, and why? When researching into music artist websites, I found that on every website they included the band's logo, or at least the brand's name. So I created the Scrabble logo. I followed this convention as I think it is thoroughly important to have a style and theme across the website, as well as connecting the other products together, and the logo helped me fulfill this. I wrote how indie bands usually have black and white logos or vintage type ones. I developed this as board games are seen today as older, and so by using them I created an older type logo without having to add a sepia effect or vintage effect to the logo. I made sure I saved the logo as a PNG, which has a transparent background. This helped with the whole process, as it meant I could then copy it and paste the logo anywhere without having to keep on removing the background or having a white background that meant it looked blocky. By making the logo without a background, I think that it added to the professional feel to the website. I kept the logo in the same place on each page of my website, and this created continuity throughout, and it also gave me a set template to work around. Also, by keeping it in the same location, the images that I used for the background worked around the logo. Another important convention for any website, whether that be for an artist or a company, is a navigation bar, as it helps the users move around the website easily. Like a contents page or a book, by having a navigation bar, it means that it makes the website more user-friendly, as the fans of the artist will have different levels of computer knowledge. I developed this navigation bar by having one navigation bar sending the user to each page of the website, and then I had a navigation bar of the artist's social media icons, so that if the user clicked on one of these, they would be sent to the right social media platform. I followed the convention that the navigation bar stayed in the same location for each page, again making the website have a layout that was easy for the user to follow. I had developed this convention by having the colour of a page title change when clicked. This meant that the user knew which page they were on. On every artist's website, they usually have an image of the band or themselves. This gives the website a personal touch, as sometimes they have images not from the creation of the digipack, but either more personal ones or ones from a music video. I felt that this was an important feature to follow, and so I used some stills of Johnny in the Blood Under My Belt music video. The reason I used these instead of the actors in my band was because I felt that artists don't necessarily have the image of themselves in the album, but something recognisable from their music video. And some artists don't have themselves in their music video. For example, in one of Ed Sheeran's music videos, an actor called Rupert Grint, a lookalike, is in it instead of him. The website is about promoting the band, and so by putting the actual artist on my website, it would mean that the fans would recognise the artist. I did the digipack front cover onto the page labelled the music page to show what their new album looked like, but kept the background as images of the actual lead singer. The website and digipack link through the use of bold colours, and the users can easily recognise this, as I used the eyedropper tool to make sure that I got the same colour to use as the background for my digipack. A convention I found out about when researching websites was that some bands or singers have a track list on their website. I developed this convention as, although it isn't something usually found on an indie pop music website, I added Spotify Player to the website on their music page, which listed the track names of the artists. I thought this track list is more up to date with technology, as it means the user can play the track they want as well as through the website. I thought this would be better than having a track list that only said the name of the tracks. By having my music video on my website, it means that it created a recognisable link between 3 products, as the user can watch the video through the website. I think it's very important for the website to be multifunctional, as I personally don't like having a lot of tabs open that the website has sent me to after clicking on something. I put the music video at the top of the video page, and it was quite large compared to the other music videos that I had on there. I did this by adding a YouTube link, so that the user could click play and the video would start. Although having the music video on the website wasn't a convention of indie pop artists, I think it is important, as a website is about promoting the artists, making the fans want merchandise and to watch their videos. By linking the products together, it would create some continuity and maybe boost their popularity, as everything is connected, making it easier for the fans or new fans to find out more. Having a page dedicated to tour dates and venues is something most popular artists have, as it helps the user when it comes close to tour tickets being released, as they can travel to their website and click the link to go buy tickets. By having a page like this, it makes the life of the fans a lot easier, as again, everything is in one place. I added the bands in town link to the website, and so it displayed the venues, and then a link to a separate website to buy tickets. This meant it kept up to date. Another conventional websites are links to a merchandise store. On the Drums website, they send the user to a separate web page. I challenged this convention by putting the merchandise store on the web page, and if it were a proper website, the artist could connect a PayPal account and therefore run the store from the website. By having the merchandise on the web page, I think that it would make life easier for the user, and by making it easier to locate merchandise, they may buy more. I followed the indie genre when creating my merchandise, as the t-shirt and the other items I created were simplistic, which is another convention of indie pop bands merchandise. I used the Scrabble logo on different colour items. A convention I didn't follow was the page on the latest news of an artist. On popular artists such as Katy Perry and Beyonce, they normally have the page dedicated to the news. But on indie pop bands' websites, they don't. I decided against having a news page because indie pop bands are more social media based, and so any news that the fans want to find out are on the websites such as Facebook or Twitter. Indie pop bands, especially the Drums, have a younger following and are less well known, and so there isn't a lot of big newspaper stories on them. I felt that a news page wouldn't fit with the simplistic design of my website and wouldn't fit in with the genre. But what I did do to develop this convention was I added an option for fans to subscribe to newsletters. This means any news that the band wanted their fans to hear, they could send it out via email, which is something most people have nowadays. This means that the fans can keep up to date with information when the band feel it is necessary to do so. How your use of conventions might attract or appeal to an audience. I have tried to stick to the conventions of a digipack and website to ensure that they are similar to other digipacks which are popular with fans. I thought that some conventions, such as having a brand identity and having the same style of font throughout the products, is necessary, as it makes things recognisable for old and new fans. By definition, convention is the way in which something is usually done. So by following the popular conventions, it means that my products will look the way they are meant to. By creating a bright digipack with bold backgrounds, it means that the digipack is eye-catching, and I personally think digipacks need to look different and bold in order to attract new fans to them. Artists are always looking to expand their fan base, and a new album that is creative will attract new fans, similar to a cover of a book and how that attracts readers to read it. The Drums, I found when researching their album's website, lacked clear conventions such as theme of certain font, as their most recent album's font had a font that had blood dripping down it and was red, while the background was black. Their older albums were more of a vintage style and had black and white images with sepia effects and yellow and green and dull red colours. I think by following popular conventions of a digipack, of having a recognisable theme was important and would attract an audience and appeal to their current one. As I wrote about before, the Scrabble pieces have older connotations, but also quite funky in the way that they stick out from the bold backgrounds of my digipack. I stuck to most of the conventions of a website. However, I think adding an About the Band page was something that new fans could use to get to know the band a little bit more. Although only a short summary of how the band formed and who was in the band, I think it adds a personal touch to the website. Smaller bands don't normally do this, but I thought it'd be important to add to the page. I've tried to make a website closer to a more popular artist such as Katy Perry or someone of a similar following, as websites are about promoting the artist and their music, so I felt that following these conventions might help the drums grow. I've kept fundamental conventions of indie pop websites, such as being simplistic, by adding an about the band page and having the merchandise on the website with a store and basket option. It means everything is in one place. As a user of websites myself, I know the most important thing is about making it easier for users to navigate themselves around the website. The navigation bar at the top of the page is in the same location, helping the user make their way around the website. Making it have continuity helps the fans and adds to the brand identity, which is another important convention of Digipacks and their products. Have you adapted any conventions or any of your 3 products, and if so, why? I think adapting conventions is very important in making a website, especially as I'm making indie pop band website, as indie is about being individual. A lot of websites I analysed and looked at had the home page, which when the users scrolled, they could see all the pages listed with all the information on it. By having each item on a separate page, it removed the annoying scrolling up and down to find something. Instead, the user can click on and be sent to the right page. I tried to keep the information on the page simplistic to follow the indie pop genre, and I tried to make sure that the information wasn't spread all around the page, as again, I didn't want to have to make the user scroll up and down to find what they wanted. The page makes it so much easier.